Zixclov, the Archon of the Celestial Dominion, paced nervously in his private chambers aboard the massive flagship Void's Maw. His iridescent scales shimmered under the dim light, and his 6 eyes darted frantically from one corner to another. The Dominion, once the uncontested power in the galaxy, was now facing an unprecedented crisis. How he hissed, his forked tongue flicking out in agitation. How did those hairless apes manage to infiltrate our most secure facilities? His most trusted advisor, Krell Nath, stood silently, her tentacles writhing with anxiety. "My lord," she began, her voice a melodious whisper, "it appears that the humans have evolved their espionage techniques beyond our comprehension." Zixclov's mandibles clicked in frustration. Impossible. They were barely space-faring a few centuries ago. And yet, Krell Nath continued, "They have managed to extract information about our quantum singularity drives, our neural network defenses, and even the location of the Nexus Keys." The Archon's exoskeleton paled at the mention of the Nexus Keys. These artifacts, capable of manipulating the very fabric of space-time, were the source of the Dominion's power. If the humans had truly discovered their whereabouts, the balance of power in the galaxy would shift irreversibly. "We must act," Zixclov declared. "Summon Drathmore. It's time we fight fire with fire." As Krell Nath left to carry out her orders, Zixclov turned to gaze out at the star-studded void. Little did he know that his next move would set in motion a chain of events that would reshape the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. On Earth, in the subterranean depths of the Terran intelligence Nexus Tin, Zephyr Stormhawk leaned back in his chair, a satisfied smirk playing on his lips. The holographic displays surrounding him pulsed with an array of alien data streams, each one a testament to humanity's newfound prowess in the art of espionage. Director, a voice called out. Zephyr turned to see his second-in-command, Orion Shadowblade, approaching with a data crystal in hand. "The Celestial Dominion is mobilizing their top operative, Codename Drathmore." Zephyr's eyes gleamed with excitement. So, the old lizards finally decided to play. Excellent. Orion raised an eyebrow. "Sir, Drathmore's no joke. He's responsible for the fall of the Andromedan Alliance and the collapse of the Orion Armed Confederacy." And yet Zephyr countered, rising from his seat, "He's never faced anything like us before. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, Orion. It's our unpredictability." As if to emphasize his point, Zephyr pulled out a small, innocuous-looking device from his pocket. To the untrained eye, it might have passed for an ancient Earth relic, a simple pocket watch. But in reality, it was the culmination of centuries of human ingenuity and the key to their espionage superiority. "The Chameleon Circuit," Zephyr said, his voice filled with pride. "Our ace in the hole." Orion nodded in understanding. The Chameleon Circuit was a marvel of human engineering combining quantum entanglement, psychic imprinting, and adaptive camouflage into a device no larger than a coin. It allowed human operatives to blend seamlessly into any alien society, adopting not just their appearance but their mannerisms, thought patterns, and even their biological signatures. Sir Orion began, his voice laced with concern, "If we deploy the Chameleon Circuit against the Dominion, we risk exposing our greatest advantage. Is it worth it?" Zephyr's expression hardened. "The Nexus Keys, Orion, if we secure them, we ensure humanity's place in the galaxy for millennia to come. The risk is worth the reward." As the two men discussed strategy, neither noticed the subtle shimmer in the corner of the room, a shimmer that shouldn't have been possible in the most secure facility on Earth. Drathmore, master of 1,000 faces and the bane of empires, found himself impressed. Infiltrating the human facility had been challenging in a way he hadn't experienced in centuries. Their security measures were a labyrinth of misdirection and countermeasures, each layer more intricate than the last. But he had succeeded where countless others had failed. Now, cloaked in an invisibility field that bent light and thought alike, he listened to the humans discuss their plans. The Chameleon Circuit. So that was the source of their sudden rise to prominence in the galactic espionage arena. Drathmore's multiple hearts quickened at the thought of acquiring such technology for the Dominion. As he prepared to make his move, a stray thought gave him pause. The humans knew about Drathmore. They were expecting him. Could this all be an elaborate trap? Before he could ponder further, alarms blared throughout the facility. Zephyr and Orion sprang into action, their movements fluid and practiced. Intruder alert in Sector 7G, an AI voice announced. Unknown alien signature detected. More cursed inwardly. Impossible. His cloaking technology was unparalleled. Unless... Did you really think we wouldn't notice you? Drathmore Zephyr's voice rang out, addressing the seemingly empty room. Your reputation precedes you, but so does ours. The master spy felt a moment of grudging respect for his human counterparts. They had outplayed him, but how? As if reading his thoughts, Orion spoke up. The Chameleon Circuit isn't just for disguise, my friend. It's a two-way street. We can see through any deception, no matter how advanced. Drathmore weighed his options. Fight or flight. Neither seemed particularly appealing against an opponent who could counter his every move. Come now, Zephyr said, his tone almost friendly. Let's dispense with the theatrics. We have a proposition for you. Intrigued despite himself, Drathmore disabled his cloaking device, revealing his true form, a being of shifting shadows and crystalline structures. I'm listening, he said, his voice a symphony of whispers. Zephyr smiled, and for a moment Drathmore understood why humans had become such a force to be reckoned with. There was something in that smile, a mixture of confidence, cunning, and just a touch of madness. How would you like to be part of something greater than the Dominion? Zephyr asked. Something that could reshape the very nature of galactic politics. What followed was a series of intense negotiations, mind games, and displays of power that would have made the greatest diplomats in the galaxy green with envy. Drathmore, for all his experience, found himself constantly off balance, never quite sure if he was the hunter or the hunted. Days turned into weeks as Zephyr and Orion laid out their vision for a new galactic order, one where information, not brute force, was the ultimate currency. They spoke of a delicate balance of power, maintained not through oppression, but through the careful manipulation of secrets and alliances. And where do I fit into this grand design of yours? Drathmore asked, his crystalline form shimmering with both curiosity and suspicion. Zephyr's response was not what the alien spy expected. You, my friend, are the key to it all. Your knowledge of the Dominion, combined with our technology, could create a network of intelligence the likes of which the galaxy has never seen. It was a tempting offer, but Drathmore had not survived this long by being easily swayed, and why should I betray my people? What guarantee do I have that you won't simply dispose of me once you have what you need? Orion stepped forward, holding out a Chameleon Circuit. Because we're offering you something the Dominion never could: true freedom. With this you could be anyone, anywhere, no more hiding in the shadows, no more serving masters who see you as nothing more than a tool. The offer hung in the air, tantalizing and dangerous. Drathmore reached out, his shadowy appendage hovering over the device. In that moment, the fate of galaxies trembled on the edge of a knife. Just as Drathmore was about to accept the offer, the facility shook violently. Alarms blared, different from before, more urgent, more panicked. We're under attack, Orion shouted, rushing to a nearby console. Multiple Dominion warships have entered Earth's atmosphere. How did they find us? Zephyr's gaze snapped to Drathmore, his eyes narrowing. You led them here. The alien spy's form rippled with what might have been guilt or fear. I had to ensure my own survival. Surely you understand. But there was no time for recriminations. The Dominion forces were closing in, their weapons tearing through Earth's defenses like paper. Zephyr made a split-second decision. Orion, initiate Protocol Omega. We need to evacuate. As chaos erupted around them, with TIN personnel rushing to secure vital data and equipment, Zephyr turned to Drathmore. You have a choice to make, right here, right now. Are you with us or against us? The facility rocked again, chunks of ceiling crashing down around them. In the distance they could hear the screeching of Dominion shock troops breaching the outer defenses. Drathmore looked from Zephyr to the Chameleon Circuit, still held out by Orion. In that moment he saw the future unfold before him, countless possibilities, endless identities, a freedom he had never known. With a fluid motion he grasped the device. What's the plan? What followed was a desperate race against time. Zephyr, Orion, and Drathmore fought their way through waves of Dominion forces, the Chameleon Circuits proving their worth 100 times over as they shifted forms and tactics to meet each new threat. They reached the hangar bay, where a sleek ship, unlike anything Drathmore had ever seen, awaited them. The shadow dancer Zephyr announced with a hint of pride. humanity's first true stealth vessel. As they boarded, Orion turned to Drathmore. "You know they'll brand you a traitor for this." The alien spy's form rippled with what might have been a shrug. "Perhaps. Or perhaps I'm playing the longest game of all." The shadow dancer shot out of the hangar, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to the Dominion fleet. As Earth receded behind them, growing smaller amidst the fire and smoke of battle, Zephyr allowed himself a moment of reflection. "This isn't the end," he said softly. "It's just the beginning." Over the next few years, the balance of power in the galaxy shifted dramatically. The celestial dominion, once unassailable, found itself outmaneuvered at every turn. Empire after empire fell to the new Shadow Alliance, not through force of arms, but through carefully orchestrated political maneuvers, economic manipulation, and the strategic application of secrets. Zephyr Stormhawk, Orion Shadowblade, and their unlikely ally Drathmore became legends in their own time. The Terran intelligence Nexus, now operating from hidden bases scattered across the galaxy, expanded its influence, becoming the de facto power behind every major decision in the galaxy. But with great power came great responsibility, and the heavy burden of maintaining galactic stability weighed heavily on the trio. They had created a new order, but at what cost? Years passed, and the galaxy settled into an uneasy peace. But beneath the surface, tensions simmered. The Nexus Keys, those artifacts of immense power that had started it all, remained elusive. Zephyr stood on the bridge of the Shadow Dancer, now the flagship of humanity's hidden fleet. "We've come so far," he mused, "but our greatest challenge lies ahead."
Orion and Drathmore joined him, each bearing the marks of their long struggle. "The Nexus Keys," Orion said. "We've finally located them." Drathmore's crystalline form pulsed with anticipation. On Zix Clov's homeworld, heavily guarded, no doubt.
Zephyr nodded, his eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of a wormhole that would take them beyond the edges of known space. "This is it. Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment." As the Shadow Dancer plunged into the wormhole, carrying with it the hopes and fears of an entire galaxy, one thing became clear: the Age of Shadows was coming to an end. What would emerge on the other side was anyone's guess. The final battle for the fate of the galaxy loomed, with alliances tested, secrets revealed, and the very fabric of reality at stake. As they hurtled towards their destiny, Zephyr, Orion, and Drathmore knew that win or lose, nothing would ever be the same again. The legacy of Earth's master spies would be written in the stars themselves, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the power of unlikely friendships forged in the crucible of galactic intrigue.